Hi everybody, Puffin here. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of Puffin's Pothead Passages with the Bible. I'll actually be turning to the Gospels. I don't know where I'll turn to, but somewhere early on we got to Matthew 22. Jesus answered and spake unto them by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. Well, here's another prayer. I turned to this other page. Sorry for the pause, but I turned to this other page and it seemed like it was the middle, so I skipped to this because it seemed like the beginning. But I feel like this is where I was supposed to start. The baptism of John, whence was it, from heaven or of men? That's Jesus asking them. And they reason with themselves, saying, If we shall say from heaven, he will say unto us, Why did ye not then believe him? But if we say of men, we fear the people, for all hold John as a prophet. So basically, they know that the people think that John was from heaven. So if they agree, then they'll, betray themselves. Why didn't they listen? Because they were the ones who judged against John. And they answered Jesus and said, We cannot tell. And he said to them, Neither tell I you. Neither tell I you. I won't tell you. Neither tell I you by what authority I do these things. So if you can't tell me, then I'm not going to tell you. But what think ye? A certain man had 2 sons, and he came to the first and said, Son, go to work today in my vineyard. He answered and said, I will not. But afterward he repented and went. And he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir, and went not. Whither of them twain did the will of his father? They say unto him, the first. Jesus say unto them, Verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go to the kingdom of God before you. This is important, I think, why I turned to this page. I'll read the rest. For John came unto you in the way of righteousness, and ye believed him not. But the publicans and the harlots believed him, and ye, when ye had seen it, repented not afterwards, that ye might believe him. It was almost like, hey, because the people that did believe him were people that we look down on, we can't go back and say, we believe him now. Hear another parable. There was a certain householder which planted a vineyard, and hedged it round about, and digged a winepress in it, and built a tower, and let it out to husbandmen, and went into a far country. This is similar to the one I read last time. It might be. And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent servants to the husbandmen, that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandman took his servants, and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another. Yeah, I did this last time. Turn to this same parable last time for Puffin's Pothead Passages number 4. And he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise. But last of all he sent unto them his son, saying, They will reverence my son. But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves, This is his heir. Come, let us kill him. Let us seize his inheritance. See, we're going to understand all these in terms of they're going to kill, these leaders are going to help kill Jesus, shortly after he says this. So we understand it in those terms. But we can also understand it in other terms, because when Jesus speaks in parables, they apply on different levels. And one term is the church itself. People are going to seize the church and destroy the true meaning of Jesus within the church to, make their own thing. But that's going to get destroyed. And they caught him and cast him out of the vineyard and slew him, meaning the husbandman did this to the son. When the Lord therefore the vineyard cometh, what will he do unto those husbandmen? So I think I did read a different version of this, maybe from Mark last time, because that version says he's going to destroy you, like you'll be destroyed. Oh, no, there it is. They say unto him, He will miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which will render the fruits in their season. So they figured that much out. Jesus said unto them, Did ye never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner? This is the Lord's doing, this is the marvelous in our eyes. Therefore I say unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you, and given to a nation bringing forth the fruits thereof. And whoever shall fail on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will ground him into powder. Whoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him into powder. So basically, you can't come against this stone. If this stone falls on you, you're crushed. If you fall on the stone, you're broken. Like, this stone is the stone. Now, according to my previous videos that I've done the last week or so, Judas turns out to be the stone relative to the church. Judas is the stumbling block that the church can't get over because they accuse him of militarism, whereas the church is actually the one guilty of militarism. Well, that's the true stumbling block that they can't get over. But Judas, or the true message of Jesus, is the stone that crushes them and crushes militarism, crushes all of it. So, you're up against the power of God. You don't win this. Time to give up. The message is right there to the Pharisees and the people who are trying to test Jesus. They know, and they just don't want to let it go. This is the exact same situation we're in today with green energy, the same situation we're in with world peace. We know, our leaders know, that we need to go this way in order to continue. And yet enough of them, enough leaders or people who have corrupted the leadership have, held on to what's giving them power and money and held us back from the direction that they know we need to go. It's the Pharisee thing, which is why I keep reading these verses about Pharisees, why I keep turning to these verses of Pharisees, thanks to the goddess for guiding, random picks or whatever, just magic, thanks to fairy magic. But these Pharisees are the leadership today that is hypocritical or that is just downright evil, like openly standing up for oil companies or whatever over what we actually need to do. So I think this has really come out. Since I have a couple more minutes, I think, on this video, I'll just finish this up and continue on to the one I started with. And when the chief priests and Pharisees had heard these parables, they perceived that he spake of them. So they knew he was talking about them. But when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude because they took him for a prophet. There's other times they can't lay hands on Jesus. And in my last Puffin Spotted passages, I've turned to an Acts where Philip is like magically transported by the Spirit of God. Sometimes when they can't lay hands on Jesus, it seems like it's because he becomes intangible, like invisible, intangible, which I think is just a cool power to have. Just wanted to throw that out there. But when they sought to lay hands on him, they feared the multitude. They just thought, well, we could try, but no, there's more of them, which is kind of also the situation we're in. You've got these cops beating up and abusing Black Lives Matter protesters, but the multitude of people is far more than the cops. And when they actually press this issue too far, if they continue to, they do get surrounded. They do get overwhelmed, if not in the moment on the ground, in social media, in the public sphere, which, they control most of that too, but that's turning around. So, back to Matthew 22. And Jesus answered and spoke to them again by parables, and said, the kingdom of heaven is like to a certain king which made a marriage for his son, and sent forth his servants to call that were bidden to the wedding, but they would come not. Again he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my failings are killed, all things are ready, come to the marriage. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm and unto his merchandise, thinking, we have other things to do than celebrate. And the remnant took his servants and treated them spitefully and slew them. But when the kingdom heard thereof, he was wroth. When the king heard thereof, he was wroth. So some other people even took his servants and were even worse to him and killed him. But the king got mad. He sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Then saith to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. So I asked the people that I thought were going to come, and they didn't deserve it. Go therefore to the highways, as many as you find, bid to the marriage. As far as not coming, it reminds me of Trump not going to the inauguration. Big event for everybody, American tradition, history, and feel-good moment for everybody, except he was left out of it, or left himself out of it. He would have been invited. He left himself out. These people refusing to go to the celebration. It's the same thing. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many shall bid, you shall find, bid to the marriage. So the servants went to the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there was a man which is not on a wedding garment. He said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. And the king said to the servants, "Bind him hand and foot, take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There should be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen." So even some guy gets in but didn't dress for the occasion. Which is kind of odd that guy gets. I mean, I guess, this king has already destroyed these other people. So they're even already completely out of the picture. But of people that came in, one came, in the wrong mood or wasn't really celebrating, was coming maybe for some other reason. And it's like, we're at that now. Like, we have to rebuild a society that's been kind of shut down by the pandemic and by Trump's failed response, or not just failed response, like he tried to give everybody the virus as much as possible. He was going for herd immunity and genocide. And he failed to kill us all, but that was actually his goal, as close as he could get to it. And now that we can celebrate that, we don't need to go back, to work or farming as fast as possible. We need to celebrate life and all come together in a celebration of life. And we can already do that now, even before we can literally come together. We can start celebrating life, celebrating goodness on another level here, through our phones, through the internet and stuff. But we should push this to the limit. We should take this, to the goddess, to the highest level, because this is, we've lived through this and will hopefully continue to live through this in ways that we should appreciate as much as we can. And we can start a whole movement of appreciating life over appreciating work. Like I've often said, if we feared losing play as much as we fear losing work, we'd have a great time. And it's true. We should start playing again, having fun, having a good time, not letting any of this stuff get in the way ever again. And people can go back to work. People like to work. People have fun at work. And when people do that, work is play. And you get paid for it. But, there's other things we can do for work. There's new ways we can do stuff. And we can do that all with this celebration of life, celebration of spirituality that we've been lacking. And once we start that up, things are going to be good. And it's going to be a gathering of good people. And it's not going to be the people who've been acting like they're the ones who get to go. It's not the people who've been acting like they're the ones in power. It'll turn out, hey, these other people are actually in power. And once that shift happens, hey, the people with the best ideas, the people with the best attitudes, the people with the best to teach each other people, that's the real power. I mean, that's the real promise of democracy all along, that the best ideas rise to the top, that the people can share in, free communication. So thanks for watching this edition. I think it's important to have emphasized the same passage again, because it is the same thing going on. Everybody comes that can respond to what's really happening. It doesn't matter where you're from. But these politicians and these leaders and these people who have been in control of the message for so long, they're going to be the ones who get left out / destroyed for their disrespectful, unappreciative response. So, and they'll be, when I say destroyed, I mean, by fate, by the goddess, by the results of their own actions, sometimes by the will of the people will vote people out or whatever it is. But, often just by, fate's turning against them. So we should be on the right side of fate and goodness. And thanks for watching this edition. I'm grateful to Jesus and to Judas especially right now for reminding me to interpret these things in these times. And watch some of my other videos for more explanation of that. But thanks for watching this one, and stay tuned for the next. I hope you have a great day.